A couple of months back, there were reports out that basically Disney and Kevin Feige and everyone were scared after the massive failings of the MCU in Phase 4, and there were going to be massive changes. What those changes were going to be, we weren't certain quite yet, but now we are starting to see some of the fallout. Obviously, we've seen heads roll over at Disney. We've got layoffs ongoing. We're losing subscribers on Disney Plus. All sorts of stuff is happening, and I do believe the severe lack of quality in the MCU in Phase 4, most notably She-Hulk and pretty much all the movies, is a major league black eye on what once was the crown jewel of all entertainment. Just having the MCU and the movies, how could it fail on Disney Plus as streaming shows? Well, we're going to have some changes. They're going to make less of them. This is what we found out this week from THR. Got a lot of people talking about it. The Hollywood Reporter reported that a number of Phase 5 MCU projects have been delayed, pushing some out of 2023. The report revealed that Marvel is looking to spread out and tinker with its streaming content, making Loki Season 2 and Secret Invasion the only two sure bets to release in 2023. This means that streaming series that wrapped up months ago like Echo and Ironheart are unlikely to release in 2023. Color me not surprised on this development. I don't even know why they made an Echo show. It sounds like they had to bring in Daredevil and Kingpin to save the show and just make it interesting. The worst part is we do have this Daredevil Born Again show that's going to be on Disney Plus, and it's going to be 18 episodes. Daredevil is a great character, and I like Charlie Cox playing the character, and I certainly like Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin, but they can only carry so much. You know, they're going to do 18 episodes of their own show and also carry 6 to 8 episodes of Echo because, quite frankly, the actress that they got just isn't very good, got no charisma. I don't know why they ever thought an Echo show would work. That character doesn't work in comics. You can't produce a solo Echo series and expect it to sell anything more than like 15,000 comic books. I understand Kevin Feige and the brain trust over at the MCU and Marvel Studios want more diverse characters. They want more female leads. That's what Phase 4 essentially was, but you got to make smart strategic choices. If you have an actress cast for Echo that can't act and has no charisma, you can't have an Echo show, despite just how heartwarming it would be and just how many headlines you could generate by making the show. Now they're going to have to put that one on the back burner. Ironheart, and listen, I get that they want Black Panther-related content. The first movie did well. The sequel didn't do quite as well as expected, but still did very well, especially by MCU Phase 4 standards. But Ironheart isn't a character associated with Black Panther. I understand the character is black, and de facto, because the people at Marvel are stupid and perhaps racist. I don't know. How do you guys take that one? That the character should all of a sudden be associated with Black Panther, but Ironheart is just a lame-ass ripoff of Iron Man. There's no way that character, Riri Williams, or what's her name? Something Thorne, the actress that played the character in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, are ever going to be able to replace Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. The only way they're going to be able to replace that character is to recast and bring him in from another multiverse or just reboot the entire MCU altogether. There's no reason to make an Ironheart show. It's probably going to be too expensive and no one's going to watch it anyway. These are not draws for Disney Plus. There was a time when Disney Plus was growing exponentially and it's like, oh my goodness, they're going to pass Netflix any day now. Then you're like, well, you don't really need the MCU to draw people in and subscribe to Disney Plus. You just need it there to give them something to watch. But it's clear that that is not the case, that they need something original on the platform that's going to give people a reason to go out there and shell out $10 to $15 every month for the streaming service. It's no longer a unique product. Everyone has a streaming platform. And if you're not putting cool, exciting new content on your platform, people are going to look elsewhere for other platforms that are doing that. They've chosen so many bad creators. I'm talking about the writers and producers that care about everything in the world but entertaining stories and telling great stories within the MCU. And that's really why Phase 4 died. And that's how they got where they are. Obviously, there was some bad business dealings. COVID certainly didn't help, but the MCU has not been good during Phase 4, and that's a huge problem. The move is what THR observers are calling a massive correction from the past couple of years, where streamers were building content plans based on giving consumers endless amounts to watch and spending recklessly to do so. One agency partner whose clients work with the MCU told THR that you can have 10 mediocre shows or you can have 5 great shows. Either way, people will stay on Disney Plus. That certainly harkens back to the old saying in business, you can have it fast, good, or cheap, but you can't have all three. Certainly, there's an oversaturation of MCU content just in movies and on Disney Plus, and it's not good right now, and that's the big problem. But this idea that people are just going to stick around no matter what, you might as well just produce the best content, period. That's a folly. They lost subscribers last quarter. They're opening up to new markets in the world, and the subscriber numbers aren't growing as fast as they should be because a lot of people just don't trust Disney anymore. And I don't blame them. Why would you trust Disney at this point? The MCU is failing, Star Wars is broke, and pretty much everything they put out from Pixar now is garbage. And that's not to mention that their reputation with parents and families, the Disney brand itself, is as low as it's ever been in the history of the company. There are major problems at Disney, and changing their strategy is a must. You can only lose money for so long. You can only go out there and borrow money or say, you know what, my word is my bond. I'm good for it for so long. People want to start seeing returns, and Disney is in a terrible place right now. Bob Iger is going to have a hell of a hard time fixing this, and Kevin Feige is going to have an even harder time fixing the MCU because he's brought in so many of these bad producers. When you hear them speak, when they talk about the MCU, they never talk about the wonderful universe that it is. They never talk about the characters. They only talk about their own personal agendas, which aren't hidden whatsoever. You can see plain as day what the people behind the creative process at Disney want to put forward. I don't necessarily think that's what Kevin Feige wants to do. I'm sure he's on board with it, but I don't think that he believes that's what the MCU is there for. But it's pretty much been hijacked at this point, and I don't know that there's any chance that he's going to get it back, even if they put out less shows. Even if they produce less movies, even if they are more selective about the stories that they decide they want to put on the big screen because they kind of burnt through all the classic heroes. They're on to the all new, all different era of Marvel, and there just aren't good characters or stories at that point. There aren't even good Iron Man stories in all new, all different. There hasn't been a good Captain America story in like the last 10 years. There's been one Hulk story, Immortal Hulk, and they can't do that character. They can't make a solo Hulk movie. So jumping ahead this fast at this point in time within the Marvel Cinematic Universe appears to be an enormous folly, and it's not working out for them. But it could mean great things for DC, the DCU, and Mr. James Gunn. Tepid reviews to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania further illustrate the shine is finally beginning to wear off Kevin Feige's MCU. The 3 lowest rated of the 31 feature-length installments on Rotten Tomatoes have all arrived in the last 13 months alone. Should the MCU continue on this downward trajectory throughout 2023 and beyond, there's no reason the competition can't make up the cavernous gap that exists between the two in the hearts, minds, and eyes of many. And let's not forget that a lot of people really like that Flash trailer. Hey, I'm a big Batman fan. You're a big Batman fan. Let's be honest. Comic fans in general and comic movie fans in general certainly like Batman. And it felt more like a Batman multiversity movie than a Flash movie. But I'm pretty sure they got their point across. And I don't know if you noticed, but the buzz following the Super Bowl was pretty high. Even people that were skeptical were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe the Flash looks amazing. We'll see if Ezra Miller and the stink that surrounds him will affect the bottom line and the box office receipts in the end. I'm still not convinced that the Flash is going to go out there and make $1.5 billion, which I'm sure is what David Zaslav and the people over there at Warner Brothers Discovery are hoping that it does. And I'm certain that James Gunn is really hoping that it does. But it sounds like there's good buzz. We've also got the sequel to Shazam coming up. Shazam was a great movie. I don't see any reason why the sequel won't be good as well. We've got the Aquaman sequel coming up. I don't see why Aquaman has to fail just because it's not really going to be a part of the DCU moving forward. People like the first movie. They're probably going to like the second movie. We're getting another Joker movie. People like the Joker movie. We're getting to the second installment of the Batman. So the stuff that Warner Brothers already has generated up seems to have better buzz around it than the MCU right now, quite frankly. There just aren't a lot of projects associated with Marvel Cinematic Universe that are getting people excited. They should be scared. They're losing subscribers. They're losing interest. And it appears that just over the horizon, there is a challenger to the crown. James Gunn and the DCU, at least in theory at this moment in time, are coming for them and their spot as the unquestioned kings of comic book superhero movies. I personally believe that superhero movie fatigue is real, but if you put out good movies, i.e. Spider-Man No Way Home, people will still go. And it looks like the DCU has a fighting chance. As I mentioned earlier, a couple months back, there were rumors that Disney were scared and they were going to have to make major changes to the MCU moving forward. If you haven't seen this, the information behind the changes we're seeing today, it's all right here. I talked about it in depth. If you don't see the video here, there's also a link in the video description.